on what the fuck.
He was in the trailer.
He was
I know
in
he
the
was.
trailer.
Yeah,
I didn't have a chance to watch it yet.
I mean, it wasn't that good.
I already told him all about it.
Okay, well.
Hi, Internet. I think we're live.
Hello.
Oh, it's
Oh
the
no.
internet. I didn't see you there.
Let me get my...
I'm sorry, I didn't see you come in.
That's typical for Dustin.
Yep.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And welcome to tonight's episode of Decisions and Dragons. When last we left our intrepid heroes, they did battle with an undead ice giant and a pair of undead ice trolls, seemingly piloted by the mysterious Ayaket that had beckoned them to come and join their friend Gilmore at the top of this mountain. Through a surprising feat of strength, Faraday literally muscled the undead ice giant off of a cliff, and it became matter against the side of the mountain. You were going to make camp until you received yet another message from Ayaket, this time in the form of a murder of crows, informing you that your friend was at death's door and he might not last the night. Deciding to soldier on, you've pushed yourself forward. Cadriel offering one final prayer to the Raven Queen in hopes that they would get some additional assistance. And finding that she had made contact not with the Raven Queen herself, but with her champion, Vax'ildan, who had explained that if she were to bring Ayaket death, he would take care of the rest. You all found Ayaket and found him to be a gangly, sunken-featured necromancer with several large giants around him. You did a very fierce battle with him. Mako, Arathea, and Faraday all nearly falling during the melee. But with the cunning stealth of a rogue that would do Vax'ildan proud, Cadriel managed to sneak past the enemies and deliver a killing blow that at first looked like it was not quite the killing blow that she was hoping for, until Vax'ildan appeared before them and had dragged Ayaket into whatever oblivion awaited him side of the material plane. You all were restored to consciousness. You guys find that the mountaintop, while still windy and freezing, is quiet. What do you do? Also, don't forget your Signscape. I see you
I
wrote.
would like to know how many hit points everybody has out of
83. Actually, it's probably more than that now. We leveled.
I'm 2 out of 56.
We lost 4 hit points.
Should we just
you what?
rest here?
Arthea's on her back like this, just like...
Yeah, I'm only down 4 hit points. You need it.
Mako is conscious, but like slumped against a rock, holding his gut. You see his features are sunken as the shadows had done quite a number on him, and he looks frail.
That's the other thing, yeah. I'm at 5 strength at the moment. You too?
Rhodes, you didn't take any damage, did you?
Oh no, I did. I took like 20 points of damage, so I'm at a little over half health.
Faraday is...
I'm doing one of the better of the group. I'm fine.
Okay, but now, how many hit points do you have?
30 of 56.
Faraday, having not seen the arrival of one champion, kind of leans up against the rock face that she'd been like posted up against, realizing that she's been impaled many times in the past 6 seconds. Cad?
Yeah?
You okay?
You dead?
I'm fine. He's
Okay, I'm gonna
gone.
sit now. And she just slides down to the rock into a sitting position.
I will gather up the raven feathers that Vaxlan dropped off of his mantle, and I'm gonna tuck them in my pouch first.
Okay.
And I would like to look around to see if I can find anything that the necromancer left behind, and if there's any thing that could be beneficial. He had like a spell book plus the book that Gilmore had that was for us and Gilmore, etc.
Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Arathea, you regain 19 hit points as
Natural 20.
Tick casts Cure Wounds on you at 4th level.
So that's a 29.
Okay. Taking a moment to, now that the adrenaline is it's still high. This is only maybe a few seconds after everything went quiet. But taking a moment to breathe and take in your surroundings, you can see, sort of nestled under a rock, there is this small collection of about like 3 or 4 books. One of which on the top looks to be a familiar, just sort of smattering of paper with a very loose binding. The other 2, did I say 2 or 3? Whatever. The other 3 books look to be bound. They look to be a little bit nicer. And you also find a small coin purse and a very small chest, maybe like a jewelry chest of some kind. It looks beat up as hell. You can tell that this had to have been, a nice item at some point when it was created, and then possibly from just traveling around with that asshole, the luster of it is just all gone to shit. You could tell that there were several points where there were some gems that were inlaid into the lid that have since been removed. This thing looks a little beat up.
Do I find the communication book that he had with Gilmore?
Yes, that is one of the books.
I'll gather all of that stuff up, and I want to open the chest, but having been around our 3 magical friends, I know better than that without checking it. And I'll sort of just make my way back down to Sal's on top of the thing.
Yeah, you're at the very top. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna start kind of going down to where Faraday is, and just are you okay?
I think I will be.
As you say that, Tick flutters over to you, and with 2 castings of Cure Wounds, both at 1st level, you regain a total of 7 hit points.
Fine. She'll kind of tap him on the head.
I helped.
I'm starting to
Mako regains 3 hit points because I rolled a pair of 1s on 2d8.
Oh.
Would you like to know what that brings him up to?
4.
7.
Hey.
4 was what you healed him with at the end of last session.
Yeah.
That's how he's alive right now.
Yeah.
4's more than
Sorry,
0.
buddy. I burned that health potion that I have.
That's all right.
I
I'm
think
going
I
to
have
grab
help.
Gilmore from where he's hiding, and grab him, start heading towards the middle with the rest of the group.
Actually, at the moment, Thurston, you were right there next to him. At the moment, Ayaket was decapitated and dehanded. The solid brick of mithril that held his hands together, as well as over his his face, fall apart. And you see that they fall apart in pieces, and almost like magnets bind each other until it's this perfect sphere of mithril.
Mako gets an additional 10 points as I expend my last 4th level slot.
How are you looking, Arithia?
Actually, Mako, as you are, Dermot, as you are casting it, Mako goes, give it to somebody else. I'll be fine.
Too late.
Well, son of a bitch.
Did you heal Arithia?
Give it to somebody else.
I
His
did.
fingernails heal themselves.
Arithia got 19 points
Yeah.
because I rolled well for that one.
That's fine. She had the least amount anyway, so.
Gilmore picks up the mithril, and if you don't mind, I'm just gonna.
I'll extend my hand to Faraday to help her up. Come on, let's move away from this cliff.
Take it, kind of leaning on her.
When I do that, I will activate my healing hands and give you 9 more hit points.
Thank you.
Gilmore is following behind Thurston, wearing the bedroll like a big comforter.
Mm-hmm. Solid life choice.
Yeah, you just see some of his long, dark strands of hair sort of flailing in the wind as you guys continue to climb back up to the summit. And at that point,
Cujo, are the 2 giant things still
Everything's gone.
here?
They all vanished.
all of the shadow creatures, the giants, all of them vanished the moment Ayaket was destroyed.
Okay.
Once me and Faraday come down, I'll go over to Arithia and be like, are you okay?
Hurt in ways that I don't think I've hurt before.
Yeah, so that's about right.
I
Did
do
find
this all the time.
I know it sounds weird to say you get used to it, but
God, I hope not.
I don't want to get used to it.
just
Let's
have to
not do this
accept
kind of
it.
crap long enough to get used to it.
Well, I do wear a little bit heavier armor than you.
You
I'm gonna
mean
give you
heavy
that
armor?
carved into a horn.
I did find these over there, and I'll hand her the papers and the 3 books that you said that I know. One of these is the book for Gilmore, but I don't. Maybe there's spells or something in another one of them. That's what I'm right.
I will, for now at least. Should probably get out of the elements.
I found this little chest too, but
Oh, no, definitely do not try to open that without checking it first. It would just
Hand it
be
to
our
me.
luck to make it through
I'll hand it
everything
over
else
to-
and then get blown up by that thing.
I'll hand it to Dermot.
Let's not get blown up today, please. Thurston says, like, sitting very still now that the adrenaline is worn off and he is still frightened of the fact that he's on the top of a mountain.
I feel you,
You want
buddy. I
me
feel
to-
ya.
You want me to put up something so we're not getting snowed on? Are we?
I would
don't
love
just-
that.
Okay,
Why don't we make our way down to the dogs
that was the other. Yeah.
and do
We
that?
just walked back up here. But whatever you want to do is fine.
Can we bring the dogs up here?
I mean,
Well, if
if
we're
we
gonna go
do,
I mean, if we're going down to the dogs just to bring them up here,
Yeah.
we should just go down to the dogs and stay.
also we'll have to reset up the tent and everything because I can't have all of us plus 24 dogs in.
Suppose it
This.
would be better to be out of the direct path of the storm. At
Yeah.
least against the cliff, we can get some shelter. Does anybody need help down? Would I have known, by the way, that that spell that caused Ayaket to be held in place was from Thurston?
Um,
I don't think
Make an
Thurston's
arcana.
used that before.
And
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, I
what,
can't
didn't
remember.
you use it because you couldn't see him?
Yeah, and so technically, like, the verbiage of the spell is that you create, like, an arc between your minds. Whether or not it's psionic, so whether or not it's physically seen is flavor. I don't know. It's not like a lightning bolt like Witch Bolt or something.
I rolled another natural 20 on that arcana check.
okay.
Are you still using those same dice? Because I want to
Yes.
use those.
First
These
off,
are the dice Tina gave me for Christmas.
Jesus.
First off,
Tina,
stop
can you
using
Tina,
those
can you
dice
buy
to
me
play
dice?
dating.
Damn. Clearly
first
you
off,
picked good
dear
ones.
Christ. Secondly, you have known of psionic abilities mostly through Mako's display of them. The majority of which are telekinetic in nature. So you do see a little bit of a fleck of purplish energy anytime Mako makes contact with something. And you know that that's just the telekinetic energy pushing the target even further past what force is built up behind his punch. That being said, recently you've noticed Mako have this way of... You did notice Mako look at Ayaket and say, "Stop." And something persuaded Ayaket to stop moving. So, you know it is psionic in nature. I would say in terms of knowing who did it, I'm going to say even with a natural 20, given the circumstances you were in, the adrenaline coursing through, all of those different factors, you're not sure who did it.
But I know at least it was a spell. Like,
It
I
was
just
a
wanted to
psionic.
discern.
Yeah, it was something psionic in nature.
In that case,
Who's
I would,
Dermot?
yeah, Dermot the
It was
psionic
me.
bard.
Yeah.
I'll put an arm around Arthia and start helping her down the mountain. But I'll look at Mako and be like, "Does that spell you?"
What spell?
At the end,
I
It was like-
unconscious. I was being feasted on by whatever shadowy creatures that asshole was summoning. And you see him struggle to get to his feet.
Faraday will
before
help him. As
I,
much as she can, which isn't much,
yeah,
but
I
she will use her
extend-
leverage to get him up.
Yeah, I extend a horn to Mako, and I extend a horn to Faraday. Because I'm fine. Like, I only have 2 or 3 spell slots at this point, but that battle did not even eat through my temporary hit points from my armor.
I know.
yeah, I only lost 4 hit points because of the circles on the ground. So,
Yeah.
Kids,
I'm okay.
let's not boast. Okay,
Some
he
of
almost
us are
got 3
feeling-
of us.
Some of us are feeling a little wrecked right now. Also, don't have spell slots.
whoever, I don't
What
know.
happened?
That last spell, whoever did that, you saved everybody.
Did it actually work? I've never tried it before, and I couldn't actually see anything, so I wasn't 100% sure how it worked.
I whip my head around to look at Thurston,
Oh,
and
shit.
Mako falls to the ground.
I was right in
Faraday
front
almost
of him,
gets
and
stabbed by a horn.
one of the shadow creatures was coming up on me, and I mean, all of a sudden it looked like something just... He looked like he was in a whole lot of pain. And he was in his head and bleeding. And I used that to our advantage. The Raven Queen. Her champion came through for me in the end.
Gilmore looks pointedly at you. What? What?
He seemed worried about you.
Well, we'll have to pour one out for the Raven Queen and her champion when we get off this mountain. Shall we?
I was watching
Oh,
Gilmore
yes.
for a second. Whatever you
Yeah.
did, Thurston, I couldn't have done what I did without your spell.
Oh, I'm glad I helped.
Look at Gilmore.
Let's find this tent, and I will explain everything.
Fair warning, that tent is probably going to be a little crowded. And
The
smelly.
dogs are lovely and warm to sleep.
You brought dogs?
And I
It's
brought
easiest to
us.
get
A
up here
lot
on
of
dog
them,
sleds.
as it turns out.
Love dogs.
Oh,
Then
then
He's
you're
you're gonna
gonna
love
have a
this
very
tent.
good night.
He's got a little bit more of a pep in his step than he was climbing up the mountain, knowing that there are dogs in his future.
A legitimate
Um,
response.
Yeah, I will help Mako get to his feet again, and kind of just slowly just like wrap us like as much as I appreciate Dermot's help. Wrap kind of like try and like support him, but also use him to like kind of lean a little.
Mm-hmm.
Since I'm still holding Gladius, I'll just say, "Hey, Gladius,
Yes, my darling.
would you mind helping Faraday down?"
Oh,
Of course.
he's all fancy.
I'll hand the new longsword Gladius to Faraday and lean
When
on him.
did that happen exactly?
That's
During the battle with the troll.
And does he stay like that now?
Yes, this is my new form.
He also told me that he's starting to remember things, so
Mm.
he seemed quite excited at the promise of accompaniment with his stories tonight, Dermot.
Oh, really?
Bard and the blade strike again.
Why does everything we encounter talk? Thurston like goes to help Gilmore.
Oh my
As I'm walking with Arthea, I'll pull one of the raven feathers that I picked up out. You said there were like 3 of them or something like that. I don't
Mhm.
remember. And I'll hand it to Arthea and just say, "I know it's not one of mine, but it's not every day that you collect feathers from the mantle of a god's champion."
No, it is not. He just left these behind.
I mean, I think he was a little busy. Making
Well.
good on his promise.
Well, I'm not going to say that Icat doesn't deserve whatever's coming to him. Can't imagine it'll be pretty.
He seemed very disturbed when he asked if the Whispered One was back.
I mean,
Wish I could have talked to him longer.
he'll talk to him again. I'm sure. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. It
Either
probably
way.
means that things are more complicated, but
You're right. You should put this in your book.
I will take it and I will put it in my own journal. Just put it between the pages.
Arthea and Cadriel, I would like you to mark in your inventory that you have, Cadriel, you have 2. Arthea, you have 1. Feathers of the I don't want to say feathers of the champion of the Raven. it's a lot.
The Ravens champion.
Yeah, feathers of the Raven's champion.
As we walk, I am going to draw Fiona and say, "Well, Fiona, it sounds like we have a new song to compose. What do you say?"
Dearie, I'm always on board.
I didn't realize that Fiona was Mrs. Doubtfire.
She's been Mrs. Doubtfire
Doubtfire.
since the first time she said anything.
Has she?
Yes. Legit, that's the voice I've been going with. And every single time I say anything, you guys are like, no, she doesn't talk. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. So you just delete it from your minds. It's no wonder you're surprised.
Yes. That is Thurston's
And I start composing a new song about heroes defeating evil and snowy mountaintops and things of that nature. Overwhelming odds.
Yeah, I'd say that's a solid theme that should be included. But
Power of friendship. Rainbows and unicorns.
Okay,
Bear
all
stare.
right, we got it. Care Bear stare. You and Fiona spend the time you can composing a song. Faraday,
Yes.
you notice that we'll backtrack just a little bit as you kind of lift up Mako and kind of like lean on him a little bit. you get this weird tactile sensation when you touch his armor, where he's still got the like strange plate mail look. The helmet has since been removed, but like holding on to him, it feels a little slick.
Ew.
And Mako says, "Sorry, that'll get better once I get some rest."
Oh. Ew, it's
I
making
can-
my skin crawl.
I can walk if you want. I'm
No.
fine.
I'm kind of leaning on you as much as I'm letting you lean on me.
Fine. No arguments from me, he says as he is trudging down the mountain.
Yeah, I know a liar. I know
Yeah.
a liar.
Yeah. Eventually, after I think it was like an hour or two
Mhm.
of just heavy-footed, half stomping, but mostly trudging, you do come upon the familiar sight of your camp. That is, all of the dogs are in the tent. You can tell because all of the leashes are just led into the tent opening where nothing else is visible. But the moment you start making a little bit more noise, some of the dog heads poke out, and some of them kind of slowly walk out to greet you all. And Gilmore says, "Oh my god, there's so many. I will love every single one of you." And he opens the bedroll and just like tries to wrap as much of them in as he can, and some of them are like excitedly jumping and all that.
Mood.
Thurston likes dogs too, but he's a little bit freaking out at the amount of dog hair that's not going to be in his bedroll when he lays in there at night. But
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we'll get past that. We'll get past that.
You have prestidigitation somewhere. It's fine.
I got you, bro.
You magically enhanced lint roller.
It's gonna be your birthday present, Thurston.
Yeah.
He would love it.
I know. He'd be so excited.
And a handheld steamer.
Yeah. Like a travel steamer.
Eventually,
Kermit could probably build one of those.
Build a what?
Travel steamer for Thurston.
eventually Gilmore does sort of return to being somewhat normal. Still wrapped in the bedroll. He has not left that thing. Now that his body heat is starting to activate the warm material, he is like in heaven. But eventually, Arthea, do you set up your dome and everything?
Oh gosh.
we should
Should
set
we?
the dogs-
This is a place we want to take a long rest.
Yeah.
Oh
but
no, that's
can't
not a
fit-
question.
No, we should set the dogs outside for now while we're talking. We go in the
Yeah.
tent, and then when we go to sleep, we can have whatever combination of people and animals
Yeah.
in whichever safe haven.
Yeah,
They'll
because
be
once
fine for a little
I
bit outside.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to like the snow a lot. So, I also, when I set it up, I can't leave it. And I really like to get inside that tent. And I'm kind of hoping that there's something hot in there I can drink.
You do have all that fire whiskey.
I'm
If there
not
was ever a
sure.
night to drink it, it might be tonight.
For that. But your business, I can stay with the dogs if you'd prefer.
No. No, get
They'll be
in
fine.
the tent. Get in the
Brittany kind of like, she doesn't even say anything. She just kind of like, she's like, I'm going to push you off. And just like, hobbles into the tent.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hang back out of the tent for a few minutes while everybody goes in. And I kind of like step back so I'm a little bit away from everybody. And
You let go of me?
I help you get in the tent and then step
Okay.
outside. And I pop out my shroud.
Hmm.
Pop out your shroud to see feathers not fully grown, but you are seeing some of the feathers starting to return. Some with a grayish, whitish tip at the end.
Well, I think it lasts for
Hmm?
it lasts for a minute. I am going to stand there until it goes away on its own. And just kind of like pull my wings forward a little bit so I can just look at them. They haven't been corporeal for a very long time.
Yeah, you reach out and you feel the actual texture of your wings. It's like the feathers are kind of growing in a little, but you feel them. They're not just bone. There's something happening. And it feels it's like a part of your body has been asleep and you're just now feeling the nerves start to like connect again. So it's a little intense at first when you make contact, when you feel the wind sort of course through the air, but by the end of that minute, you sort of take solace that your wings are returning.
Think to myself, how did he do that? And probably like just before they start disappearing back into the tent, whether everybody else notices them or not is up to them, or whatever. But
You walk in with them still out.
probably like the last few seconds of them being out.
Arthea just has a big shit-eating grin on her face.
I'll look for Gilmore.
Gilmore is in the tent in the corner, wrapped the fuck up in this little warm cotton ball with his little face sort of peeking out. Says, "That's new."
He did it.
They're nice.
Olvax. I'm glad you got to see him.
I pray to the Raven Queen all the time. She never answers. I don't know what's different this time.
I pray from time to time myself, mostly to try to connect with the champion. There may not be a direct response as though we are speaking now, but from what I understand, it's more than that. They still hear you.
He asked if he was back. I told him what was happening. I said that he had you. He looked very worried. Promised that if I or we killed the man that took you, he would make sure that it was ended. I saw him at the end.
Suppose that's as good a time as any for this to start. Suppose I'll just begin, and if you have questions, I'll happily answer. You see, now he is looking a little sheepish, as now he has to kind of own.
We found your ring.
Oh, yes.
Oh, good. I was hoping it would be found by someone, should I not have made it.
I will fish in my pockets and pull that out and
Yesterday morning, before we
walk. Yeah.
set off on the last bit of the journey. Arethia's the one that figured out. Well,
didn't really
Is that-
figure out so much as it kind of just lit up.
And that was sort of the idea with the enchantment.
Oh,
Drop that in his hand.
I'll take out the
Slash
mirror
slap
as
if
well.
his hands are still tucked up in there.
Yeah, I'll take
Oh.
out the mirror as well, and I'll
We should
remember not to shake it this time.
Yeah.
Activate it to call Laura.
Before we settle in for what I imagine is going to be a long conversation, is there anyone we need to call? Allura, Pike.
Yes.
Oh, you spoke with Pike? She's going to kill me.
Didn't
She gave me
seem
this.
thrilled.
She's going to kill me.
She's quite magical.
She's going to kill me.
I don't think Allura was very happy either. I will, at that point, would I say that, activate the mirror as I'm sitting right next to Gilmore.
Oh, gosh.
You activate the mirror, it shimmers. Then after a few moments, yes, hello. You're alive. It's been quite a while. Everything all right?
Look what we found.
To Gilmore.
Oh, good. You're also alive. Happy to see you safe and sound with these travelers. Gilmore, still like unmoving from his cocoon of warmth. Yes, it's been a trial. I apologize for my absence. I'm sure we'll get to council business when I return. And Allura says, oh, we will. But in the meantime, Cadriel,
Yes.
thank you for finding him. It's very clear this was quite an arduous journey for you all. Upon your return, I will see that you are adequately compensated, and I wish you safe journey back. There's been some updates, but we don't need to discuss this now. We can allow time for you to return.
It might do well for you to meet us back in Vasselheim. Gilmore is... And I glance over to him as I'm talking to her. You're in a lot of trouble there, Gilmore, for what you took from the Cobalt Soul.
You see the bottom half of the blanket just slowly wallow.
Pike did say that she was going to try and at least
Yes,
tamp down on that a bit.
And I look at Allura. It just might help if you lend your voice, I think.
Not sure they'd like her voice either.
She is a representative of basically everything they hate. And I
He's also
say
a
that
member
no
of
one
the
would,
Taldori
No,
Council.
exactly. Don't like us either.
With
Yes.
all due respect, madam.
No, it's all right. Everything you're saying is completely true. But there should be a council member there to facilitate the proceedings. So that is not a bad plan. I will begin packing immediately. How long will it take for you to return to Vasselheim?
Took us 2 weeks to get up here.
Assuming, weather.
Well, I will see if I can't expedite my travel a little bit. I don't know how, but I'll find a means.
We
I don't suggest expediting it too much.
Oh, I'm well aware. Anyway, I shall see you in Vasselheim. I will keep communication with the mirror and let you know when I'm about to arrive.
we will let Pike know that.
We'll do the same.
Yes. See you in a few weeks, I suppose.
Yes, it will be wonderful. Good night, everybody.
And then I'll put them away.
As you put it away, you see the reflection fade.
Who has the bracelet? Perhaps sending Pike a message wouldn't be the worst idea.
and perhaps Marin as well.
That's
Yes.
the other.
About that, can we have our discussion before messaging Marin?
She's your daughter. I suppose that's your decision.
Just, please. You deserve to know exactly what's going on.
We'll just tell Pike that we're
Yeah.
on our way back.
I
I
think
assume
maybe
I've been
also-
holding on to it.
I think
Yeah, I
kinda
think so,
you have
because-
I
since you
had
get to
it
talk with Ellis.
last, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
assume Faraday just like she kept giving it back to Dermot every evening on the way here, and then was just like, you know what, fuck it, why am I doing
Yeah, I
this?
put a kibosh on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not
mean,
talking to anybody.
I feel like
The only person I'm going to talk to is you.
maybe sending a quick message to Pike so she can
Yeah.
start to prepare for our return as well. Maybe
Mhm.
also a heads up that Allura is en route.
Okay.
She might be, and I don't know. Did you want to contact Alice at some point?
I can
Have
do
you been
it.
checking
I-
with her every night?
Been trying to.
Maybe when we look a little less like we do right now.
Yeah, that's a good
Well,
call.
it's not like
Feel a
she's
little
sending
better.
a picture along with it.
I know, but you can tell. We sound
Not like she's sending a dice picture.
not in the
Send
tent.
dice.
She's like 12.
Well, would you like me to send it? I feel
She doesn't need to see her dice. She's underage.
Scandalous.
she is far too young to play with D&D dice.
What are you teaching her today?
Ooh, Snorty McSnorter's in there.
It's so stupid.
Mhm.
I didn't mean to sound offended that Dina was sending dice to other people.
It was amazing, though.
Good job.
Yeah, Faraday will throw the bracelet to Cat.
Send
Uh,
things.
while all of this is going on, before we really get into that conversation,
So this
as a ritual, I cast detect magic on that lockbox.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I will do the same ritual cast
on the
the
books and
books
papers.
that we
Oh,
have.
the ritual cast.
Also, I'll be staring at them because I'm not sure what's actually aside from the journal that I know, obviously, which looks
I'm
like the
gonna,
one I have.
I'm gonna parse out the 25 words while you guys do that.
Okay. Yeah, I have the journal that matches ours, which I know other two books, I believe,
Mhm.
which looking at them before I start to cast and near them, is there any writing or anything?
So obviously the stack of papers with the loose binding is the third piece of the manuscript. The second book you find is the other side that you've been communicating with Gilmore with.
Right.
The other two books do not give off any magic.
Okay.
You can see that one of them is like a loose history of Isira, specifically talking about calamity history, and the other one is politics of Exandria. That kind of goes into the world governments that are currently, the main powers of Exandria.
Thurston looks over.
I think we might actually have a copy of this. We grabbed a whole bunch of similar books from that cave.
And Dermot, you cast Detect Magic and you're focusing on that box, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The box itself doesn't give anything magical.
Mm-hmm.
You are getting something from within, though, that is
Okay.
giving off the School of Evocation.
Okay. Then I would like to just make an investigation check to check for traps.
Okay, go for it.
Use the bracelet to send the message.
Okay.
Should be exactly 25 words. Pike, it's Cadriel. We have Gilmore, a bit worse for wear, but he is safe. We're heading back to Vasselheim. Allura meeting us there.
Castletown.
Yeah, Vasseltown. It's where you get your starter Pokemon from. And then just say Allura meeting us there.
You get back. Oh, I forget how this works. happy to hear. We'll talk with Dawn Marshals.
Is
And
Dawn Marshall's 1 or 2 words?
2.
Okay.
And prepare for a meeting. Be safe. do.
Adriel looks really confused at the end. She sang to me at the end.
Is that a
I like to
Vasselheim
think Pike
custom?
doesn't understand that you don't have to use all 25 words.
She said she's going to prepare for the meeting with the Dawn Marshals, and she's glad you're safe, though.
Oh, wonderful.
I suspect you might receive a talking to, Gilmore. Can't say it's not deserved, though.
I'm aware. Dermot, what was your investigation?
Because the lockbox is clearly not trapped, I'm going to attempt to open it.
Okay.
Did you roll really badly or really high?
Was it a natural 1?
It was not a natural 1, but it was real close to that.
I was gonna say I zoned out for like a hot second, but I don't remember Cujo saying it wasn't trapped.
I have a really hard time believing that a 6 is gonna tell me anything if it's trapped or not.
You
Really beat up box.
look at the box, maybe shake it a little bit. You hear something rattling around inside.
We all back the fuck away.
Verity's trying to get
You-
up on her feet.
And just as Verity gets up on her feet, you open the box, and nothing happens.
Jesus Christ.
Inside the box, you see it is like it's got like a felt interior. There is this roughly hewn black grayish glass sphere that doesn't seem to be doing anything. It's just sort of sitting there.
How
peek over
are
at
we
it.
looking? Like a baseball, a golf ball,
I'd say like a softball.
bigger than a baseball?
Yes.
Cool. I'm gonna pick it up.
Jesus.
I'm like leaning over, like looking
I
at
mean, I
what
already
doing.
know it's evocation of some kind.
Cujo.
So bad.
Okay.
What is that, Dermot?
Maybe we
Oh no,
don't.
I cast identify on it.
Hold on. We got a couple things happening all at once. Sam,
It-
what
it
were you
can-
going to say?
Okay, I have a new thing I can do. That I have a supernatural talent for discerning the history surrounding mysterious objects or places touched by evil. When making an intelligence history check to recall information about a darker past surrounding an object you are touching or a location you are present in, you have advantage on the roll. The information gleaned often leads towards the more sinister influences of the past, and sometimes conveys visions of things previously unknown to the character on higher rolls.
Hey.
So, it doesn't have to be right now, she's not touching it.
Okay.
But that is this thing is like
Okay.
setting off like all kinds of spidey senses of like just like
Red flag,
oh my
red flag.
It was in a box with a
Verity,
dude
it's
who had
not
one
a
hand.
flag. It's a black glass
eye.
softball that emanates evocation magic.
Like,
I'm like leaning over it, looking at
That,
it.
like,
she
sounds
knows who
bad.
Vecna was. So like anything that belongs to a dude who's like best buddies with Vecna, probably not fun to play with.
You touch the stone, and you cast Identify. This is a sending stone. You know that it typically has a twin that people can communicate freely between.
Did you find anything like that was on his girlfriend? We didn't, right?
We did not, but I would have to dig through the bag of holding to be absolutely certain.
Also, it could be at the bottom of the cave.
It could be. If it was on her, it could also be. Maybe he has a pen pal elsewhere.
He was
Also-
cheating on this girlfriend that he says he loves so much enough to kill us.
Well, I mean,
Mako just chimes in with, the leaps of logic are making me dizzy, and I can't tell if that's the concussion or not.
Hujo, I have a question.
Dustin, I may have an answer.
You said it's a sending stone,
Yes.
so it's similar to the bracelet that we have.
Yes. However, there are no charge limits. This is consistently available.
Okay, so it
Uh,
is just constantly active.
Well, yes. Basically, you have to activate the stone to be able to send a message through. But it's not like you have only so many messages per day. It's just there. It's just
So-
there whenever you need to communicate with the other sending stone.
Okay, so it's kind of like the Palantiri, the stones in
Yes.
Lord of the Rings that Saruman uses to. And Gandalf's like, you'll never know who else is watching.
Yep.
but in theory, you would have to actually activate
Activate
it
it.
to
Well,
send
Okay.
something.
I don't
through.
care.
it's not
I'm gonna
scrying
do what
stone.
my good buddy Gandalf does. I'm gonna put it back in a box.
Good.
Okay.
Close the
Because you
box.
never know who else is watching.
All
Maybe that
right.
should go in the bag of holding.
Yeah.
Whoever's watching's like, what the fuck is all this?
Like 16 swords in there.
Be careful. Don't. That one is one of my favorites.
You're
You know,
yeah.
you guys gave Thurston shit for bringing his entire wardrobe.
Or wanting to.
Cadriel has a fucking armory with you guys.
I'm
She's
just
not
saying.
giving us swords. She's the only one
I
that can
mean-
use that.
I know.
I mean, personally, I'm glad that Thurston brought a lot of
mean,
clothing.
I can use
I might
some
need
swords.
to borrow some.
Yeah,
I
but you
did
guys
not-
didn't let me bring enough. I mean, it's enough, but like, is it enough?
Yeah.
I mean, if we keep ruining stuff the way we did tonight,
I
probably
hate
not.
not being a player because I have some dynamite comebacks to some of the shit that you guys are saying, but the characters wouldn't say that I'm RPing right now.
Really? Mako wouldn't have some quippy one-liners?
Mako doesn't give two shits.
That's true.
Mako's also like 9 hit points from death. He has more important problems.
I
Yeah.
will say though, Thurston, my jacket does look quite good on you.
It's true.
Well, thank
I'm
you.
taking it back someday, but you can still use it for now.
Okay.
You just
Um,
bring it to a tailor when we get back to Westrun. You can have some, you know,
Yeah.
a new version.
it's
Well, funny thing about magical items, it actually adapts to its wearer. That's why magical items can be used by pretty much anybody, unless there's a specific divine requirement to blah 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 blah. Disclaimer: fine print bullshit. But for the most part, if it is a wearable item, it adapts to the size of its bearer.
Speaking of, I'll
Mhm.
take Gladius back from Faraday.
Oh yeah.
He's probably been like talking like nonstop.
It's white
Gladius?
noise.
It's just like
okay.
white noise.
Gladius, this is Gilmore.
Hello, wonderful to make your acquaintance. And Gilmore says, well, it's new. Hello.
He was a
Friend.
short sword when I found him.
Strange. I know, right? It's quite a wonderful journey we find ourselves on. Lots of adventure around every corner. Right. Well, it was wonderful to make your acquaintance. I wouldn't be surprised if you were a vestige. But we can save that conversation for another time. And Gladys goes, wonderful. I have no idea what that means.
I just look at Gilmore. I'm like, yeah. Speaking of,
That conversation.
what you doing on this mountain?
I want to begin by saying that everything I've done so to try to redeem myself. After the fall of the Whispered One and losing Vax'ildan amongst other people, I fell into a bit of a depression. I threw myself into my work, scouring ruins for new enchantments, new artifacts that I could duplicate the enchantments of. You get the idea. I stumbled upon this ruin that had this arcane circle. And not paying attention, clearly not an adventuring type myself, I mistakenly activated it. And I appeared somewhere that I would not call Exandria. I believe Enrin, in his manuscripts, refers to it as the Underplane. It was a one-way circle. I found myself stranded, but I find myself on the charming side, so I was able to function, and I found that this world was called Bivin. There I found that it was not so different from Exandria. There were adventurers, there were good deeds to be done to save the common people, that sort of thing. I established another franchise, if I may say so myself. It's quite profitable, actually, and it's not the focus of the conversation. I made some very, very dear friends in this other world. That being said, I knew that I did need to come back to Exandria. There were people here who needed me. I was newly appointed to the Council of Taldore. I had responsibilities to attend to. So I started researching a way to get back. There was a group of people who were doing battle with a lich by the name of Enkel. I had done my best to support them with whatever items I could conjure for them. But unfortunately, their journey ended when they faced Enkel in battle. I don't know what happened to them. All I know is that whatever lie within that castle in the mountains all began pouring forth. All monster of all kinds, fiends, undead, abominations. There were some friends of mine, new parents, actually, who had stated that when their daughter was born, she exhibited odd, arcane tendencies. I didn't really quite know what to make of it. I examined her myself, and she had runes all over her skin. This infant child with glowing eyes looked more divine in her own way than many Aasimar I've come across. The moment that army started approaching our town, I knew what their goal was. I promised them that I would take the child with me when I left. Protect her. I watched as they valiantly fought against the oncoming swarm. And unable to assist, I took the child in my arms, and I came back. It's a funny thing, however, and this was something I was able to subvert when I first made my way into Bivin. it almost felt like the cosmos itself was trying to rewrite my very history to match that of the world that I'd found myself in. And being a advanced arcane practitioner, I managed to resist those effects and keep my mind about me. I kept her hidden. Really, the only one who was aware of her existence was Allura. And I made it clear that this child, whose glowing arcane runes and glowing eyes had subsided, was my daughter. And that was the most the conversation went. Over the next few years, I think whatever cosmic effect plane shifting in such a manner had, it affected her. As she aged very rapidly, she developed an adult personality, a bit of an attitude, if I say so myself. But she has grown remarkably fast, believing that she is my daughter. Then when you all had shown up, I heard of a disturbance in the forests near Whitestone. I as you know, I couldn't go myself, protecting after the Winter's Crest and everything. So I sent you all on a mission to sort out what was there. When you brought back that rune, I realized that was a rune that was crafted in Bivin. That there were more that had somehow followed me through. I don't know how they managed to find how to make it through one of these portals, but apparently they had. And then you found more. And then you found that sorceress in the mine. And I knew that I needed to find a way to seal off Bivin from Exandria entirely, to prevent any more oncoming invaders who would seek to harm Marin. I did some research and I found I heard rather of a manuscript. So when you had brought me the... Actually, I'm trying to figure out the timeline. You guys had met with Gilmore to present that manuscript?
We did not. He left.
Yeah, we were trying to tell him that we got it, and he
did not
was ghosting us, basically.
Yeah.
Got it.
The last time we spoke to him was to confirm the weird shit found in the mine prior to returning to Westrun. By the time we got back and did our month-long spat of research and headed to on, he was already gone. So he was like 2 weeks ahead of us.
I discovered that a manuscript had existed. And I decided to start searching out the pieces myself. Not knowing, or... Well, after you sent the message letting me know you had found something, I was dreading this very conversation. But I knew that I still had a piece to find. I came here knowing that my very existence in Sierra, more so in Vasselheim, was a crime in their eyes, so I stayed with Vanessa, the Slayer's Take. I planned my own little heist of capturing the piece of the manuscript that was in the Cobalt Soul. And as I completed that, he found me. He knew who I was.
Gilmore would have just spoken. He took you because of the woman we killed in the cave.
No, it was more than that. It was partly revenge. He did talk at length, monologuing about how it was the love of his life. but he knew me by name, which means that whoever is on the other side is looking for Marin, and they know that I was connected to her.
Everything in that plane is backwards and upside down compared to ours. Is that correct?
Yes. It takes I won't lie, it's like wearing shoes on the wrong feet. It feels weird at first, but you'd spend a day walking in them and they're just shoes.
So, do you know then what ataraxia means?
No, that I don't. That was on the pistol, yes?
In Whitestone. They may have been closer than you suspect to Marin, if that's the case.
What I may have suspected is that the other side, may have found some way of perhaps testing the teleportation magics that they are using, and as such they needed a guinea pig. That's the only thing I could think of as to why somebody would A, have a firearm that is not of Derolo make, and B, have that inscribed on it in Bivin script. My goal, once I had retrieved the manuscript, was to find the location of this triennium and see if I couldn't persuade it to seal off Bivin entirely. I never got that far, as you can tell.
Arthea has studied both of the first portions of the manuscript extensively. The Cobalt Soul has them now. We made ourselves enemies of Singorn trying to get the second one.
Not going to lie, that was going to be my last stop. I didn't want to deal with that right away.
Why didn't
Mostly
you
because I would have
say
done the same.
anything?
Perhaps could have avoided some of this if you would have just told us what was going on.
Yes, I
Or at
know.
least warned us that people in Sing were kind of assholes.
Oh no, that
That's more of a you have to experience that. I can't tell you that you have to experience the assholish nature of Singorian elves.
that can be conveyed fully, and that's less. No, the new. Since the first day we brought back that little rubbing.
I was hoping, I'm kicking myself because I had sent you on a journey to discover what more of those would mean, not thinking of the danger that it had put you all through. I was hoping that by disappearing and maybe trying to helm this myself, perhaps adventurers would have found a more well-paying job somewhere, and I don't know.
The thing is, it's led to more and more clues, and Singorn... I never would go back to that place anyway, but we did come across an automaton. It seemed to be from some of these... It reacted to the name Cordelia. It wanted to take all of us with it, and don't meet many beings that speak Celestial these days.
And do you think that whoever this is, whoever's pulling the strings on the other side of this, is after Marin?
Yes.
Uh,
And we know who's pulling the strings.
I turned to Faraday. Faraday, can I see that bracelet for a second?
Hi. Cat has it.
Oh, no reason. I walk out of the tent. Once I'm outside, I send a message to Marin.
It has 2 charges left, just so you know.
Okay. Not gonna tell her anything about what's going on, just... Marin, it's Dermot O'Ferry. Sorry to bother you. Just checking in, seeing how you're doing. Have you heard from your father?
You send the arcane enchantment out, and a moment goes by. Then another. And then you hear, "Oh, sorry, I was sleeping. I haven't heard from him yet. I'm starting to really I'm trying not to freak out. Um, you guys gotta get better beds in this place. I
Suffer,
know a
you
guy."
guys.
Basically, she's like half asleep, rambling in response.
Wait, she said
You
you
guys.
guys
You
have to get
guys.
better.
No, it cuts
Just
off at
off at
guys.
you guys.
Oh, okay.
Is that-
You don't know.
I don't know, but I know.
I know. We have another problem then.
I come back inside, and say, well, Marin appears to be fine
Good.
so far.
This doesn't solve the problem why Estella thinks the stars are going out, though. Why he's been watching me through that amulet the whole time.
Maybe you were an ace in the hole. Maybe that was his plan.
It was just fool. Doesn't matter.
You think we just did him a favor by killing his lackey and sending him straight back to his master?
No. But I think there'll be others. I think this one was perhaps a test.
I would assume there probably are others. Less of a will be. I mean, if
Oh.
one person can come through, not saying it's
More.
easy. We have
About-
to assume.
We
keep-
can talk to somebody that kind of told us about the elemental planes being out of whack as well. I feel like
That was Pike. Well, not Pike. Pike gave us some of it. The stern one who frowned a lot.
Yes, Vord.
Yes. Apparently, I guess there's other instabilities, which I suppose is surprising.
I suppose if our two worlds aren't supposed to be connecting, and there are at least two relatively recent instances of people opening portals between our two worlds and supposedly more, it's not surprising that all of the planes are out of whack if essentially someone's trying to force things to
way.
connect that shouldn't connect.
No, it's only two. I mean,
At least two is, I suppose, the best number to quote.
I wonder teleportation isn't working either.
I mean, it's working perfectly fine. It's just
Not sending us to the correct place.
exactly. I think it's sending us to
The right
whatever.
location, but it doesn't know which
Wrong.
plane to be on.
Yeah, or it's getting at least overwritten en route, so it's recalibrating on the way, which probably is less of an issue if we know where we're ending up. But
Faraday, what were you
did
gonna?
you get back?
It took some creative arcane spellcraft, let me tell you.
It would be
First,
really helpful to see that at some point. We've had a few incidents, the last of which was almost not good.
It's the
yeah, I
dogs.
share that. Dogs, and you see Gilmore reaches over, grabs one, and just holds it. Faraday, go ahead.
we're all forgetting. We already know another child with runes.
That's the other thing.
Wasn't sure when we were going to get to that part of the story.
There's another?
We found a little girl in Singorn, actually.
Right.
She had been living there for... I don't know how long. Running away from somebody who was trying to capture her for someone in Marquette, I think. I don't know. I don't really remember. But
We
has
think that there
runes on
might
her,
be a
too.
bounty out on her.
Right, okay. These runes, can you describe them?
I can draw one.
Yeah.
Sure.
Verity looks at Arthea.
I think. I'm almost positive that I have written down somewhere that I recognized at least one of them.
And I,
They were the
between
same kinds of
They-
runes.
yeah,
Yeah.
between me and Arathea, can I, before I finish this sentence, I probably don't have a spell slot for it.
Verity, maybe you should contact her to see if she's okay.
I am going to cast Major Image.
Okay.
Oh yeah. You can do that.
Between me and Arathea, can we, create a decent facsimile of
Of Alice?
Alice.
Ellis?
Yeah, I'll say the two of you with your arcane power can come up with a pretty good duplicate of Alice. Gilmore eyes the runes that sort of spell down her arms and all along the back of her neck. This is slightly different, but almost exactly how I saw on Marin when she was a baby.
She seems to have an uncanny ability for learning spells at will.
Yeah, even at a young age, she is a competent sorceress.
Where is she now?
It's in Turst Fields at our bar.
Nope.
No, we
Uh,
left her. We
oh.
left. Yeah. She's with
She's with
Estella.
Irid.
She was
Oh, that's
Irid and
right.
Estella. We
She's in
lo-
Western.
She's in
She's
Western.
in Western.
That's right.
Estella
think you should-
Latimer.
locked in the tower.
Right.
She's with, well, made a friend, a companion of sorts named Irid. We saved her life, and she's sort of out to help us with whatever we need. She agreed to stay with Ellis and keep her safe.
Oh, sounds like you have your first underling.
Especially since we know that.
Second, third underling. I
Oh,
look at Mako.
Mako is, by the way, passed the fuck out on a
Just
bed.
sleeping.
But even though he's like, well, elves do that trance bullshit. But you just see
You're counting underlings. Thurston's counting his household staff. He doesn't say anything, but he's like,
There's a lot
What?
more.
Wait. Yeah, I didn't even consider Quincy
Yeah.
for underlings.
getting to
Do
be
we,
quite the
include
group.
the bar staff in this?
I mean, he may have hired people for all we know. We let him run with that place.
Well, Thurston did draw up the contract.
it's the only responsible way to have employees. Everyone has to understand what they're getting into.
We probably should have done that before. we
Gee,
set out
that'd
on
have
this
been
whole
nice
journey.
for us, huh?
Faraday,
Yeah.
make me a history check.
You're going to redeem yourself today.
Uh-oh.
That seems unlikely.
Not with that attitude.
That's a 19.
But the one that tried
Always
to
bet
kill
on
you last
Spike.
week.
It is.
So-
It's the murderer.
Oh, it was allowed to come back out tonight?
Yeah, she went on a field trip to the hair salon on Monday. I let her have.
She's on probation now.
She's off probation. It was supervised probation.
She was
Work
she was out
release.
on parole.
She was on parole.
Work release.
Yeah.
Faraday. As you hear that Gilmore essentially confirms that that's exactly how Marin looked as she was a baby, you think about what Estella's interest in Ellis was and what Allura had stated in the bar when she had first met Ellis. And you see that there's a pretty strong indication of what, in fact, Marin might be.
Yeah, she's gonna keep that to herself.
Sounds good.
So, do we think Ellis similarly aged quickly?
I can tell you with all certainty, Marin never lingered at this age more than a day. Her maturing was entirely out of my control. It was a bit of a whirlwind, I will tell you that, but she achieved her current age only about a year ago, and it seems that it has stopped.
What
But
does Marin think she is?
she thinks she's in her mid-20s.
Time passed the same over there? When you were over there?
It was difficult to say. I was there for a few years, 3 or 4. When I returned, pretty much the same, give or take 6 months was different.
When did Marin stop having those runes? Did she grow out of them naturally? Is this something we should expect with Ellis?
Marin, within a few months of her growth, the runes began to dim, as did the arcane energy in her eyes, until they just looked as roughly hewn scars on her skin. It was, I suppose by normal human aging, she was 5 or 6 years old.
Ellis seems much older than that, though.
Yes.
Seems is the key phrase.
I was just wondering, I mean, we didn't spend a lot of time with her before we left.
Not to be indelicate. I know you have runes on your own body, Gilmoris. Is
Rune
it in
child.
similar vein?
Sort of. Being a rune child really just means that whenever you exert the arcane ability within, the runes flare and you look glorious. But only really in that moment. Or Marin, and as I can see, Ellis, it seems to be a consistent glow about their person.
Feel like I should say something, but I've also reached the point where I don't know what we're supposed to do next other than get you home safely.
Well, I'm sure if I survive the meeting with the Dawn Marshals, which I hope I do, sure I'm essentially going to be on Tal'Dorei arrest, focusing entirely on my business, the council matters. My days of adventuring, I'm sure, are going to be put to an end. But that being said,
If your daughter has anything to say about it, I'm sure that'll be the case.
Speaking of which, are you going to start answering us in the book again?
yes. Provided you don't read that one passage again. You could just... can I see the book? I'll just tear it out. You don't need to read that. That's fine.
I would still like to see the end.
Oh, we've already framed it.
Yes.
No need. No need, friend.
I'm waiting for the end to that story, Gil.
Well, feed me a bunch of alcohol, and then I'm sure I'll give you a verbal retelling.
I will dig into the bag of holding and pull out one of the bottles of fire whiskey.
No sooner do you do that than I hand him the alchemy jug, which is now filled with wine.
Pressing matters first.
I'll also
Please.
pull out rations for everybody, since I have a level of exhaustion and I would like to not have it in the morning.
Yep.
So,
What? You want to not have exhaustion? Lame.
yeah, you know, it's fine except for the disadvantage.
You don't want to trip your way down this mountain.
No, I have to drive people down the mountain. I will pass out rations to everybody, and if Mako's still sleeping, I'll just kind of like set his on top of him.
On his chest.
You see, the only thing that moves is his arm, which just reaches up, feels. You just hear a where he then just sticks pieces of it in his mouth.
If there's any of the fruit left that I would have bought in Vasselheim in the bag of holding, like apples and shit, I'll pass those out too.
I would say with that, like, this might be the last run of those, apples and the fruit stuffs and whatnot. You right now, I'd say you probably just have travel rations remaining.
It's not going to be fun eating for the next 2 weeks, but it'll get us back to Vasselheim.
Thank you all. And I apologize for withholding everything. I thought that this was my responsibility because clearly whatever notes I left behind on this portal, they found. And that's the entire reason we are here right now.
Which was in the coin purse that I found, by the way.
You find 15 platinum and 30 gold pieces.
But, okay. Making sure that I have this correct in my head. Enrin spoke of this place. He wrote of this place. He was trying to go to this place. I mean, he knew it by a different name, but... So, this isn't the first time that this has happened. At some point.
This is true. What strikes me as odd is this automaton that you had spoken with. You said you had encountered it in Singorn?
It was after Lisev Sorvelen trying to get her to go with him. She had the second piece of the manuscript, and it only spoke to me because I spoke Celestial to it.
I'm going to need you to teach that to me, actually, at some point. Just as a note.
First lesson is the Latin prayer from Monty Python.
No, that's not correct. The first lesson is the swear words, which
There
you
you
always
go.
learn first in any
Yeah.
No, what you learn first is where's the bathroom.
There you go.
No, Kat's going to hand her, like,
Hello,
Tallis
my
or
name
something.
is. Where's your bathroom?
It's going to be like it's going to be the dirty prose.
Well, what strikes me as odd is that you're correct. Enrin was fascinated by this underplane, as he called it. And this is a manuscript that's very, very, very old. So something... I mean, I briefly was able to page through the first 2 pieces, but I haven't been able to read through Unfortunately, because our dearest friend Ayakets prevented me from using my hands for a good few weeks.
You should let Arthea read it. She could probably tell you the summary of all three of them put together.
If there's anybody that I would trust with that, it would be Arthea. And perhaps Dermot. Mostly Arthea, though.
Of course,
Arthea.
the
She takes much better
automaton-
notes than I do.
She does. The automaton seemed to be looking for a way to get home. That's what it said. I mentioned Cordelia, and it reacted as much as a robot could react.
Well, Cordelia is a town in Bivin.
So it's in the Osmond Sea, then.
No.
No. It corresponds to.
Corresponds to the teleportation. The Cordelia is, well, unfortunately, the town that I had appeared in when I first appeared in Bivin.
You never
Not-
saw
not very
automatons
exciting.
in it?
No, but that didn't mean that there weren't any that in existence. I believe that one of the adventurers who had gone to fight this lich, I believe, was an automaton, but that was the only one that I had seen. And he clearly looked, and this might come off as a bit of an insult, I mean it with the utmost respect, he looked like a prototype in some way, shape, or form. I didn't quite know what to make of him. One of my business associates was actually quite enamored with him.
Well, the
Lady.
one we met was named Cretheus, if that makes any difference.
Name doesn't ring a bell.
When it saw that we knew of Cordelia and things like that, it changed its tune. Instead of just having to take Sorvellin, it said that we all had to go with it. But once we got away from Singorn, before I had a chance to ask it any more questions, it said that it had failed and it had needed to return home. And it left.
Just walked off, didn't it?
Yes.
I believe I'm sensing a message being sent back and forth between people right now.
Just
That's fine.
cursing past selves.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
In our-
Oh, I get it.
cursing our past
Yeah.
selves and our inability to take proper notes.
Yeah. Well,
Write any of this down.
I would.
Physically wrote this down.
Yeah.
Arthea, I would read very thoroughly through that piece of the manuscript. If you are intimately familiar with the first two pieces, then this should be no problem for you.
You looked at it.
Only briefly, the first few pages. That's all I could really get through before I was caught.
Okay. Well, the Cobalt Soul said that it gets very odd at the end, for whatever that means. Apparently, there's a reason Enrin was known as Mad, and this is why.
Wonderful.
Yes. So just don't expect any miracles.
Sounds good.
Oh, what the hell? It's gonna piss me off.
As they're
Good.
talking, Faraday will hold out her hand for the bracelet from Dermot.
I hand it over to you, and you notice that Dermot is actually jotting down a couple of notes.
Do I see anything of importance?
You do, but it's not notes on what the conversation is.
So I
I'll say
probably
Faraday-
don't understand them.
No.
I'll say Faraday, you could try and make a perception check.
Sure. 15?
All right, so get like a general idea of just literally what's on the page, not necessarily the meaning behind it, but
It looks like the conversation has moved a little bit like in depth into the big brain kind of, meta thinking.
Sure.
And Dermot is jotting down words and phrases of the song that he began composing as we started making his way down the mountain.
Easy.
Almost as if like someone said something and Dermot said, "Oh, I should write that down," and then it just like snowballed
Just kept-
into like his own little tangent.
Done
That's
I
that.
love it.
Awesome.
I love this.
We've all been there.
Gladius, have you been? Does any of this sound remotely familiar to you? You told me you were you were starting to remember things.
not at all. But what I can tell you is that the memories that are flooding back are of battle, a grand battle. I believe it was the Calamity.
You remember who wielded you?
I have no idea, but I think they were fantastic swordsmen, or women, or neither.
No, I should only hope to be as good as they were.
You are definitely on your way, my darling. So,
Remedy.
what's next?
I'm going to, at some point, as the conversation begins to wind down, I'm going to start playing a Song of Rest.
Gladius.
And not like to like, hey, it's time to go to sleep now. I'm playing a lullaby, but I'm going to just start plucking on the violin strings so that once anybody decides that, hey, it's time to take a rest, there's extra healing involved.
Gladius, who the last he thought was that he was going to regale everyone with stories with musical accompaniment, does not pick up on the cue and starts talking about battle, about the encounter that he came across where there was a grand beast that clawed in front. Basically, he's like monologuing like Ian McKellen if he was on crack. And just
Finger over his sword mouth. Quietly.
And Gladius doesn't need a long rest. He can talk all he wants.
Gilmore, what did you mean by a vestige? What exactly?
a vestige of divergence. Weapons crafted to fight the betrayer gods during the Calamity.
So,
It's an artifact of incredible power. Hearing that I suppose, transposed itself into that of a different shape could mean that if you continue to use it well, it may continue to awaken. I would just keep a close eye on him.
he's saved my hide a couple times, very recently.
Ha! I pride myself on that, but you did all the work, my darling.
It's that
very
he is
enthusiastic.
remembering fighting in the Calamity. I certainly don't think that anyone such as myself would have wielded a blade of his alignment before. I'm certainly not lawful good.
Maybe the good part matters a lot more than the law.
That is exactly what I was going to say.
Depends on who you ask.
I mean, some laws are broad. I mean, you're trying to keep the universe from imploding. That seems, uphold those laws.
It seems like the purpose of a champion of goodness and righteousness, and I only aim to be wielded by those with those qualities. And then he glares at Thurston.
What did I do? I can't even lift you. Let's be perfectly honest.
Thurston
You
saved
just-
us all up there, Gladius.
I suppose he did. They did? He did? I don't want to be disrespectful. Never mind that I'm glaring at you. What pronouns shall I use?
He, thank you for asking, I suppose.
Wonderful. He, him pronouns, and standoffish nature included.
Not standoffish. I suppose I just wasn't expecting that many items that typically are inanimate to be animate, and I am mentally adjusting. And he looks between Gladius and Fiona. He's just like,
I'm pretty sure there's
It's-
a box we have that also speaks.
yeah, and he
we
looks at the
don't
bag
talk
of holding
about
because
that.
there's stuff in there
There's,
as
stuff in
well.
there.
And it's
We haven't touched that for months, and we probably
Isn't that a gem in a box?
we don't talk about it.
Gem in a box?
Yep. Yep.
His ventriloquism at a dog on the other side of the room. What are you staring at them for?
My God.
That doesn't happen. I don't have ventriloquism. God, I wish though.
Gilmore, you could say you see his eyes are getting a little heavy.
Sleep, Gilmore. I'm sure it's been a while since you've had a good one.
I think I'm just going to stay curled up in this bag. I honestly don't think I could get up and move if I wanted to at this point, so I'm just gonna stay here and find you guys. Bam. And out like a light.
Suppose we should all do that after today.
You all go ahead and get some rest. I'll take first watch.
I'll take first watch with you. I think I'm feeling a little bit better than others.
I assume we have to wait for the dome to go up.
Yeah, how do we want to sleeping arrangements?
I can crash with you in the dome.
Okay.
And the dogs.
You're very warm.
Some of the dogs. It doesn't hold all of the dogs.
Some of the dogs, anyway.
Some of the
The
dogs.
tent holds technically 5 people. We've kind of all been I've imagined we've all been sitting
leaning.
like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been
Kind of sprawled over
It holds
each
5
other.
people comfortably, but it's not
Yes.
like you're not,
that discussion about con sleeping arrangements.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
use it like a
Yeah.
con hotel room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of not all the dogs, Gilmore is fast asleep, and you actually watch as 2 of the dogs sort of make their way over, do the circles around him, and then sleep up right next to him.
Aw.
That takes care of 2 of them.
22.
2 to go.
We can bring another 7 with us.
Yeah, I think so.
So
Basically just, all right, everybody get into their sleeping positions in the tent. Now the dogs will come in and fill the rest of the space in this tent.
Yeah.
God forbid if you have to
That's
get
what
up to
they do.
pee.
Yep.
Is what they do.
Yep.
yeah.
Um,
all right. Oh gosh, it's so cold out there.
as Arthea is casting the dome, Faraday is going to take the bracelet, knowing it is probably the middle of the night, but whatever. And she will she will think about Ellis and cast the spell on the bracelet and say, checking in. We are okay and heading back to Vasselheim. Are you okay? What have you been doing with Estella? Only have one message today.
You get exhausted, whiny
Yeah.
voice Ellis saying, oh God, I have to count out my shit. She's teaching me the different schools of magic, which is the most boring thing ever. Ired is teaching me more combat stuff. I miss you. Love.
Okay. I'll pocket the bracelet and start trying to wait for Arthea, kind of trying to like stand to block the wind from her, for her a little bit while she's casting.
Got it. I'll say, just for the sake of time, you guys Arthea casts the dome. It has that familiar hum of power as it forms, and you find the inside much more comfortable than outside in the storm.
Mm-hmm. It's extra warm tonight. Sorry, I think it's freezing.
Who is on first watch? Who's taking that one? Dermot? Dermot and Cadriel. Okay. Go ahead and make me perception checks.
13.
Seven. With a
Both
plus
of you.
6.
Oh, man.
This
Plus
dice jail's
8.
getting pretty full.
Both of you sort of sit, contemplate the events of the previous long day, the intensity with which you all did combat, and how close you were to losing some of your number. You keep an eye out, but other than the howl of the storm, nothing else seems to be catching your attention.
Probably like sit there watching, like not really even trying to say much. It's just one of those like I'm really tired, but like I'm just watching because it's my turn and I'm just like
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm not helping, I'm playing.
I'm just like listening to Dermot's song that he's playing, just kind of keeping an eye out, but probably with the necromancer gone, just feeling slightly more relaxed, about as relaxed as the situation would allow for, without being too,
I after a while, I take a step and sit down next to Cad and say, I've been trying to workshop our group name. I understand Fiona's 5, even though it's perfect, doesn't really count because we have Mako now. And I didn't think just the Misfits had the right ring.
I panicked a little when she asked me, to be honest with you.
What's that?
I panicked a little when she asked me what to call us, to be honest with you. It's the first thing that popped into my head.
I was actually thinking, it's a little long-winded, but I was actually thinking, considering our recent accomplishments and where we've accomplished them, Flock of the Winter Raven.
Like that.
A little long-winded, though. What do you think?
I think it's fitting. We do. I can't say that I would want to go on with another group if I had to. Much like a flock of birds. You may not always agree with everything each other does, but I kind of feel like you're my people, so I like it.
And we owe no small bit of our accomplishments to the Raven Queen.
Yeah. Never expected that to come out. Your song sounds great, by the way.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to hearing it when it's finished.
Yeah, I still have a little bit of work to do. It's not quite there yet.
You'll get it. And I'm sure that next time it would be a fun evening to hear some of Gladius's stories along with your songs.
Yeah. Just think. Our biggest problem used to be where we were having our next drink.
Yeah. Now we have enough of it with us to
Wonder
make
if we're
a.
going to survive to that next drink.
Yeah. You do know that I don't think the rest of the flock, I suppose, is going to let anything happen to you and Faraday in a year's time. I certainly won't.
Oh, of that I have no doubt.
Just making sure. I don't want to see this family broken up anytime soon.
Me neither.
Well, who's next?
Indeed. Who is next?
Christian was the next least damaged. He'll go next.
Alrighty.
Mako only needs to trance for like 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
Trance is like 4 hours.
Is it 4 hours? It's
Yeah.
been a long time since I've
Yeah.
played an elf and
Yeah.
needed to keep
Yeah,
It's
it's
4
4
hours.
Trance is 4.
Okay.
Well, actually, Dermot, why don't I stay up with Thurston? You'll probably need your spells tomorrow. Best if you get the rest.
Yes.
I mean,
That,
you can go to sleep. I think that the main danger has passed us, and I am sure that I can go ahead and wake anyone up if necessary. You need to also get a good night's sleep.
I will. My head's a little full at the moment, so probably won't be very, very good company, but I'll at least keep an eye out with you for a little while.
You wish?
Alright. Cadriel and Thurston, go ahead and make me perception checks.
Would you prefer to do it at advantage roads? I don't know. Mine's like +8. So
I mean, anything is better than what I just rolled. Not anything. The vast majority. So you just go for it.
I
Just
rolled
roll.
an 8, so 16.
11.
Okay. You guys, again, sort of, Thurston, you're kind of wiping some of the sleep from your eyes, kind of taking in the area around you. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. At the end of that watch, you hear you hear this grudge poking through the tent, and you see Mako looking a little bit more like himself, but still looking quite exhausted. And he sort of steps into the dome. I sort of assumed it was going to be my turn.
Are
That's
either
good.
of us up?
I think both of you guys were trancing too.
Yeah, I'm probably up by now.
What do I roll to see whether or not I actually was able to trans after dying?
Make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Can I help you, sir?
What was it? Oh, sorry.
No, I'm.
That was Spencer.
Oh,
Hi.
love his underbite.
Stupid face.
Oh, that is
Mom, I
not
want to
good.
play too.
No, well.
I'll
Your
roll
dice
the
look
dice.
delicious.
12.
with a 12, I will say that you were able to kind of get your wits about you by the time things settled down. Really, it was during the story of getting information from Gilmore. That's where your adrenaline truly subsided, and you were able to relax a little bit more.
Oh, that's right. Push the button.
Do you want me to roll that as well?
Yeah, go for it, Faraday.
So, having eaten and then taking the long rest, do I lose my point of exhaustion?
Yes, you will. Faraday. Something about that last moment before your vision went dark, whether it was the truly traumatizing sensation of chains piercing into you, maybe it was knowing that the moment those pierced your flesh, that your chance of stopping this was lost. Maybe it was worrying about Ellis and what she would say. But you are entirely too wound from that sensation. And combining that with the information dump that Gilmore had for everybody, trancing is an impossibility for you tonight.
I'm up anyway.
Okay.
Sounds good. Mako just sort of plops down in the dome. You look like hell. I mean that with all the respect that it should have. I'm just exhausted.
Being impaled 5 times, I'll do that to a girl.
Mm-hmm. It's never easy.
This one was a little more difficult.
Did you see anything when it went dark?
I heard something.
Got me curious.
I heard a voice that I thought I had been able to block out.
The skeletons in your closet saying hello in your dying moments. It's awful
Yes.
rude.
Yeah, how considerate of them.
Hmm. Yes, mine know to stay the fuck away. Well, I would hope. But I understand that that's not the case for anybody else.
What about you?
I wonder what wine I'm going to have tomorrow.
Fine.
No, to be honest, it's fine. I didn't see anything pleasant. I merely saw what happens to the schism when it's their time to pass on. Only worse. See
Or-
this? He gestures. It's crafted by the Illithid. It's sort of,
I'll be back in just a minute.
cool. It was a gift, funnily enough, to Atu, or so the story goes. It's a living embodiment of the psionics that power the schism. When a normal schism member dies, so I've heard, their mind is stuck in that lifeless body. Never leaving, never passing on. Stuck, screaming for all eternity. But this offered a way out. It just meant giving myself wholly to its mental power. And in doing so, I wouldn't be stuck in a lifeless husk for all eternity. I would just be in the stomach of a symbiotic piece of armor.
I'd ask if it was worth it, but I think I know the answer.
Always.
I can't blame you.
Oh, the hellfire I will rain on the rest of the schism. Be legendary. That being said, I could not be in this position of power if you all hadn't helped me.
We had a deal.
Yes, I understand deals. I understand there's the formality involved, but I'm grateful for your assistance.
And I'm grateful for yours. We would not have made it this far without you, Mako. Truly. With or without the armor.
Well, any further favors after this I will have to charge you, but that can be a discussion for another time.
Depending on what happens, I may need to take you up on it.
You wouldn't be the only one.
Do I want to know?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll your perception check.
Take that. 21.
Nice. Mako got a 17. Again, seems, other than the storm, you are slowly feeling the weight of the danger you always felt while being on this mountain ease as the night passes without issue.
Okay.
I will say for the sake of time, but he does awaken, fully refreshed, fully rested. However, Faraday, you are going to take a point of exhaustion.
But otherwise, long
but-
rest.
Otherwise, long rest.
So fully refreshed, like those of us who had strength sucked, we get that back.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For Faraday.
Let me.
Yeah, what are the rules on that?
I think it's shorter
I
long
think-
rest.
Faraday, good thing you're just riding in one of the. One
Yeah,
of
I'm
the
driving
sets.
that one. So one of us had to like make it through the night.
Yeah.
Those who had their strength sapped find it returns to them after a nice full night's rest.
Honey, it doesn't feel all that different.
Oh.
Yeah, but like it's the principle of the matter.
Oh, I didn't. Sorry to anybody listening. I accidentally rolled dice. Didn't mean to roll dice.
Oh God. What did you
Oh,
do?
yeah.
Same
What have you
thing.
done?
I rolled
I
a
keep,
nat
like-
20 on a strength check, though.
Hey,
I rolled an 18.
Jesus.
I went to go fix it. I accidentally hit the modifier instead of the score.
Oh, lovely.
You guys definitely see that Mako just kind of bulked back up to his normal stature and says, "Physically healed, mentally traumatized. Isn't that the life of an adventurer?"
That
Oh.
is the most insightful thing I think I've ever heard in my life.
You're welcome. I'm
No, there was
full
the
of
one about the
insightful
wine.
comments.
And anything to do with wine, yes.
Yeah. But that's really,
Speaking of,
really depressing.
yes. You guys all rise and are kind of getting your stuff ready to go. Gilmore takes his his time, I should say. I was gonna say takes a hot second, and then it's never mind.
Subconscious, we get it. All right.
Aren't all
Yeah.
of Gilmore's
Yep.
seconds a hot second?
I mean, it's Gilmore.
Mhm.
He's
He
like,
eventually
shower, using all the hot water.
he does eventually step out from the tent, looking a little bit more refreshed. His bed head is shapes. It's kind of everywhere. He's kind of got this little bit of a hunch as the dogs sort of walk out with him. Good morning.
Oh, Gilmore, I love what you've done with your hair.
That's the new style. And then he casts Prestidigitation, and from the top down, you see Gilmore returned to his beautiful, glorious glory. His robes have repaired, his jewelry is polished and gleaming. Ah, much better. So, you took
Oh.
sleds.
We do have another one. It's just at the bottom of the mountain, so we're gonna have to. One of you's going to be a little uncomfortable with two people on the sled.
I mean, I could probably. Two small people.
No, yeah, we fixed that one and we brought it.
We didn't bring all
Only
four
on the whole-
sleds. We brought
No,
3 of the sleds.
We did tie a sled. Yep.
Yeah.
We left a flag to mark it, which hopefully did not blow away in the storm.
I really wish we could just teleport everywhere. This walking business is terrible, but
Agreed.
it's
Yeah.
awful.
It's awful, but
It's awful, but it's not worth it.
I
It's
mean,
true.
I'm not entirely sure about that, but I also have no idea to at the time, so.
I don't think I have ever walked this much in my entire years put together as I have in the last several months of this
Last several
adventure.
weeks, honestly.
Thurston's been
That
cozy on the sled, so.
No, Thurston's been driving the sled.
No, that was Mako.
Oh,
Mako.
you were on the
No.
sled. Sorry. I forgot Mako was driving.
Yes, it was actually really funny when it crashed and Thurston face planted into the snow. It was quite a
yes.
funny sight.
Yeah.
Until you
God.
followed right behind him.
We don't need to talk about that.
At least we have less to carry back.
Yeah.
Trying to think of something I can do to speed up our travel, but I honestly don't have much of anything with all of these beautiful, beautiful dogs. And he kind of scruffs one.
Yeah, there's that problem, too.
I've just got,
Hmm?
help. I just have help with the sled, so. I don't know.
Well, let's just hop to it, I suppose. And
How?
Gilmore,
How?
where would you like me in relation to sleds?
I sort of peer over the side of the mountain, staying back far enough to not give Thurston a heart attack.
Oh yeah, does sleeping get rid of my frightened condition? It doesn't when you hit long rest on the character sheet.
Make a wisdom saving throw.
Listen,
Thurston, you can ride with me if you'd like.
As a hater of heights, that shit ain't going away.
Yeah,
no.
that's a 7. Yep.
Yeah.
You slept, but it was more out of exhaustion, physical exhaustion, than like I'm gonna go to sleep knowing my worst fear is right outside that tent flap.
Yep.
So So, unfortunately, you are still very on edge.
Legit.
That's fair.
Arthea, you
I just
doing
wanted
all
to,
right?
I just wanted to see how far up we were. It's like down on her stomach.
Make a perception check.
Actually, how is the storm looking?
Um, it's lightened up a little bit, but it's still ever present.
Storm. Perception 18.
18. With an 18, you can see as the storm rages around the mountain, there's this smallest little break in the clouds that are bunched up around you. You're not at Everest level by any means, but it's definitely you're at least a couple miles up.
Okay. Yeah.
The air's
I'm-
pretty goddamn thin.
Everything. I mean, I have things that
The
can.
winter survival gears that you guys got, the food ideas, like literally, I had stuff ready to go. If you guys were just like, no, let's just go, and you guys did your fucking homework, so that stuff is like not a factor here.
That's wonderful.
Gilmore,
And they said
maybe
that-
you should keep that sleeping bag out.
Yeah.
You don't exactly have the gear that the rest of us have.
Actually, did we bring extra? We might have bought extra.
Don't worry, this thing is temperature controlled. More the sleeping cot bag was just a comfort thing. I will say it was quite comfortable. Thank you, Thurston.
You're welcome. Also, how much will it cost for you to make me clothing of that nature?
Well, to look at the shop, look at my books again. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 gold. It's not that expensive. It's purely just for temperature. It doesn't really offer much additional protection.
No, but I also meant with the changing the style at a whim.
Oh,
The
that.
two spells combined,
Right.
specifically.
Enchantment upon enchantment. I would say, as I reach back into my mind to the
It was like
list.
700 gold or something like that you'd pulled there now.
I feel like that should be waived, considering we just hauled his ass off the top of a mountain.
It's true.
Let's call it an even 1,500 gold pieces.
A bargain, yes. Done.
All right. I obviously can't do this here. I need my shop.
Just on the to-do.
What kind of tools do you need?
I've got an enchanting table. I've got spell foci, crystals, that sort of thing. Plus, I need to find a spot to inscribe the arcane runes on the item to add those enchantments upon.
Yeah, I can't help with that.
Hmm.
At this point, all of our many breaks and rests down the mountain, Dermot's been poring over the final chapters of his Artificer book.
Love it.
Like, he had an epiphany, and he suddenly figured out how to do a lot of that stuff. He
Nice.
just hasn't had an opportunity to actually do a lot of it.
It honestly could have been being in combat and having that adrenaline surging through you and trying to think strategically with what resources you had available. That alone, I mean, going over the play-by-play of the combat,
Mhm.
very well could have been like, if I could have used this item, I would need this enchantment. Then it's like, oh shit, that enchantment was exactly what I fucking needed.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, and he's been doing that, the entire way down the mountain.
Nice. Well, there are no d8s to be rolled. It takes a couple days. but your travel down the slopes of the mountain is much faster than going up. You pass the path you were on essentially kind of spiraled around the mountain, so you definitely do take in the sights as you see the frozen sludge skid mark that was the giant, and kind of regale that story once again to Gilmore. But eventually, you do finally see that the ground is within just about an hour's walk.
Were we able to locate the spot with the ribbon where we had hid the fourth sled?
Make me a perception check.
Well, I don't locate it.
But that wasn't my question.
I rolled a natural 1.
I mean, I'm the one who put the ribbon up.
Yeah.
Maybe
Durham
and my
can see that.
perception to try and find that is a 22.
With a 22, you have this internal moment of panic as you're like, wait, where's the ribbon? Where's the ribbon? Wait, no, that tree looks familiar. That's got to be it. And sure enough, as you look and kind of dig through the brush a little bit, you do find, almost entirely buried by snow, the sled that you guys had hidden away. With the couple of days that had gone by as you were traveling up the mountain, the ribbon unfortunately did tear off of the branch, but you did manage to find the sled, so now it is once again yours to use as you will.
Well, make the rest of the travel more comfortable.
Indeed.
Might want to dry it off, I guess. It's got a lot of snow on it.
Prestidigitation.
All right.
That is the end-all
I'm sure
be-all
I
spell.
can't do it all in one shot, but I'm sure between me and Gilmore, we make sure
People are just
we're
like-
drying off the sled.
Firing prestidigitation spells at the chunks of snow that have just built up around it.
It annoys Thurston so much that he can't learn that spell.
Can you not?
No, he doesn't have access to that. I don't think
Oh.
so. I'll have to
Oh,
triple
no, we
check,
are
but I
gonna
don't think so.
We are gonna sit down when we have some time, and you.
Artia will write it out for you.
Yeah. No, we are gonna find a way so that you can have that. Will just make your life so much better.
Oh no, he can. I just can't remember if he can change cantrips. I don't think so.
At a certain
sure.
level, you'll learn an additional cantrip. And at that
Yeah,
point-
okay. He'll
You
finally learn it.
might
I
also be
think
able to
it-
take like magic initiate as a
Technically, Tasha's rules, I think it's when you get a ASI.
yeah.
Technically, Tasha's allows you to switch out a cantrip, I think is what it is.
I'm cool with
Interesting.
that. I like that rule.
One day he'll figure it out. One day.
It's fine. We'll all of us who can do it will sit
At
down
level
and
10, he'll figure it out.
study.
Quick question for Arathea.
Hmm?
In the couple of days as you travel down the mountain, do you read the third piece
Yes.
of the manuscript? Okay.
Probably starting the day.
Okay.
Do I? I guess can I read it? Language wise, when I first look at it, is it written in a language that I know, or is it written in something else?
It is written in a language that you know, so you can read it.
Wonderful.
The manuscript speaks of Enrin saying he got too close to the Triennium, and those who travel with it had captured him. Their way of speaking was difficult to understand, and he found that Celestial was the only common language in which they could communicate. Towards the end, he says, I think I can make the journey, or I think I can make the attempt to dive through the portal. This will be my last entry in this journal. And there are several lines, well, a couple pages of blank before finally the last 2 or 3 pages, zeros and ones fill like the bottom half of the last piece of the last page in this manuscript.
Is it something that any of us would recognize, like especially after he said that they only spoke Celestial, or
Make a history check. Arthea, go ahead. If you are going to sit with your notes from the previous manuscript and try to connect everything together, go ahead and make me a intelligence check. No proficiency.
Okay.
I rolled an 8 for history. So I don't recognize it.
Something. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's Miss Jackson.
Miss Jackson. Okay. And Cad, you said what
8.
was your roll? 8? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With an 8, I mean, you've heard tales of celestial beings, periodically visiting the material plane through, bedtime stories, that sort of thing. But any culture that specifically chose celestial doesn't really ring a bell.
Clearly, I would know that, being that I am half Celestial.
This is true. Arthea. You pour over all of the information that you have. And you look and can actually see that on some of the pages, some words, like a letter in a word, is capitalized. Initially, you thought maybe it was probably just an error or whatever. But considering how frequently this does happen, it kind of leads you to believe that there's something in addition to what's already in this manuscript. You piece together all of these capitalized letters and try several different combinations of words before you are given, in long word form, coordinates. What they lead to, you're not quite sure, but you could assume that it would lead to where the Triennium is.
Coordinates in the arcane sense?
Yes.
Okay. Similar to Cordelia coordinates?
No,
Which were also...
actually.
Okay.
These are Exandrian coordinates.
So they are material plane coordinates.
Yes.
They do not have a shift element.
No.
You think that those lead to this lost?
Well, they lead somewhere here. As in, not another plane.
Do we have a map? Gilmore gave us a map in the beginning, didn't he?
I don't think we have one for the whole world. I think we have a small piece of it. I mean, odd question. Coordinates for things like this. Are they celestial based, like navigation wise? Are they something we would be able to figure out just from knowing and traveling in a world where there's no GPS?
If you have the coordinates, it would help to have a map of some kind that is equipped with these, units of measurement and whatnot on it, just so you know exactly where you're going. But I'll say
Ballpark it.
you can ballpark it. It is somewhere in the Osmond Sea.
Okay.
So your earlier statements that this location is in the Osmond Sea is correct. The specifics, though, I mean, you're talking an ocean,
Yeah. And I think we got north central Osmond Sea basically for,
pretty much.
yeah, it's broad. But we do know somebody with a skyship.
Very
This is
true.
true.
I talked to
Oh,
Current
goodness.
about navigating before we left. She said that they use they go by the stars, which I guess could get complicated if they're going out, but
Maybe she'd be willing to.
she also said we could probably find some navigation equipment in Vasselheim. Though I don't know, maybe Dermot can make those.
It's just going to say the same thing.
You can make any. I mean, you've gotten quite good at the tinkering.
Yeah, to make like navigators tools.
Did you make an astrolabe?
If you explain to me what that is, I'm sure I could.
I can probably try and draw it out for you. It's gonna be really bad drawing. Not artistically inclined.
Cujo, at this point we've traveled long enough that we're now back below the tree line, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Am I no longer a scourge then?
You are no longer a scourge.
No longer a skirt. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying we should try this now,
No, we have some things to take care of first.
and we also don't know if, well, our
I think that we.
transportation has been a little rough.
Do you think that we should go back to Whitestone at some point to check on things there?
I mean, I think before we jump into a very long journey that might take us places that we don't know how to get back from, we should do everything else that we need to do. I mean, I think I could probably get us to this location, but I have no ungodly idea what to do once we're there. Also, there's probably a question as to whether we should be jumping to coordinates that come out of a book from somebody who's considered insane.
I think
I mean,
one
I'm down
problem
for
at
it.
a time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down for that. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but probably something we should prepare for if we're gonna do it.
I said we have things to wrap up.
Yes, we have people that we need to see, and I think if we don't show up in Vasselheim, Allura might actually kill us.
Yes.
I can't say I blame her.
We promised her no more incidents.
What did you know? What I don't need to know.
Arthea, you have the ability to create some sort of teleportation circle.
Yes.
Is it something that you can do multiple times? Our magic does not have it. We often have the ability to do some of the same things, but not all of the same things.
We have some overlap.
Would it be helpful if we both figured out how to do that in general?
I don't know. I mean, do you think it'd be helpful to have two of us who can do it? Or do you think it'd be more helpful to have
It sounds morbid, but
I mean, that's yeah. I also think that we might be able
happened
to
this time.
Yeah, we should not. I don't want to. Probably would be useful. I mean, I can give you the ones that I have too. I have a few mostly worked out. Well, 2 fully worked out. Thank you for that, Gilmore.
Oh,
We
anytime.
yeah,
Oh,
which
yes, we've been using your teleportation circles, by the way.
we told your staff
Oh.
that you said it was okay.
Well, you are very good and clearly psychic, because of course it's okay.
We also bought things from your store, but
That's true, we did.
we used the circles as well.
Before
All
we
right.
bought things.
Well, I appreciate you at least still uh, using the entrepreneurial spirit and paying for the items. That was important, so thank you.
Never steal from you, Gilmore.
No, thank you.
I wouldn't mind if you could make my armor do what you're going to make Thurston's clothes do, but I would never steal from you.
We'll discuss when we get back to Taldore.
To be fair,
Okay.
we did negotiate that any magic necessary in order to ensure our survival during this mission would be considered acceptable given the extenuating circumstances of our time here.
True.
You negotiated that with who?
Brownie
The
one?
one with the grumpy face. What did you say his name was?
convinced High Bearer Vord that it was all right for you to use magic?
Well, I
Well,
think
the
that-
Lady Pike assisted in ensuring that he agreed, but yes.
Oh shit!
It's a little more than a look.
may I-
We were able to convince him that our survival was in his best interest.
Well, clearly you have a salesman tongue about you, and Thurston, I would very much like to look to you for business opportunities in the future if you are looking for more different kind of work.
Wow. The Nallard House is always looking to expand.
I'm sure it is.
he's really good at it.
You guys have now officially begun your travel back to Vasselheim. And I am actually going to call it a little bit early tonight, just because I'd say it's a very solid ending point, knowing pretty much everything about what's been happening now. So, but to anybody who tuned in, thank you so much. We love you very much. I'm quite excited and interested to see where you guys go next, but we shall see. Everybody be nice to each other. We love you. We have a new Critical Role book coming out next week, and then we have our Vox Machina series coming out soon, which looks fucking awesome.
Yay!
So definitely tune into that, and yeah, we love you.
Yes.
Mwah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.